Welcome to Fantastic Stories. What is the Grey Alien? Part 4. The grey alien is typically described as a humanoid being with a large head, black eyes, grey skin, thin limbs, and a small mouth. Across thousands of reported encounters, one detail appears repeatedly. They look strangely familiar, not identical to humans, but structurally similar. They usually possess 2 arms, 2 legs, upright posture, grasping hands, binocular vision, and a body plan broadly resembling terrestrial vertebrates. And this raises an important question. Why would an alleged non-human intelligence evolve in a form so similar to us? One possible explanation is convergent evolution. On Earth, very different species, often independently, evolve similar solutions to environmental problems. Wings evolved separately in birds, bats, and insects. Eyes evolved multiple times. Streamlined bodies appeared in sharks, dolphins, and extinct marine reptiles. So perhaps intelligence itself also favors certain physical traits: forward-facing eyes for depth perception, upright posture and grasping hands for tool use and manipulating objects, and large brains requiring expanded skulls. However, the similarity still appears unusually specific. This is why some UFO researchers and experiencers consider an extraordinary possibility that grey aliens may not be extraterrestrial beings in a traditional sense at all, but interdimensional. In recent political discussions surrounding UAPs, several public figures have even suggested this idea directly, proposing that some entities might originate not from another planet, but from a different layer of reality. Recently, US Representative Anna Paulina Luna publicly suggested that at least some UAP-related entities may be interdimensional rather than extraterrestrial, stating that this interpretation is based on classified briefings and materials she has reviewed. And interestingly, this hypothesis solves several conceptual problems at once. If such beings originate from a parallel universe or neighboring dimension closely resembling our own universe, then their biological similarity to terrestrial life becomes easier to explain. Perhaps their world shares a common evolutionary history with ours, but diverged at some point in the distant past. In such a scenario, Earth-like conditions may still exist there. Similar gravity, similar atmosphere, similar chemistry, yet evolution might have taken a slightly different path. And this leads to another fascinating detail. Many descriptions of grey-type beings contain subtle reptilian features: smooth skin, minimal facial expression, large dark eyes, small noses and mouths, thin, non-mammalian bodies, and almost no emotions. Some speculative theories therefore ask, what if intelligent reptilian life evolved under Earth-like conditions? On Earth, reptiles dominated for over 150 million years. Some dinosaur species were already highly intelligent, particularly certain theropods. And importantly, technological civilization requires very specific anatomical features: free manipulative limbs, depth perception, and advanced cognition. Hypothetically, if a dinosaur lineage had continued evolving under different circumstances, could an intelligent, technological species eventually emerge? No evidence currently supports this idea, of course, but within interdimensional framework it becomes conceptually quite easy to imagine. A parallel Earth may not have experienced the same extinction events that shaped human evolution. In that case, intelligent reptilian descendants, or some entirely different branch of terrestrial vertebrate evolution, might theoretically exist elsewhere. The interdimensional hypothesis might also help explain another puzzling aspect of the phenomenon: the behavior of UAPs themselves. Many reported UAP movements appear inconsistent with conventional aerodynamics or known human technology. Former intelligence official Lou Elizondo described several characteristics referred to as the 5 observables: extreme acceleration, instantaneous directional changes, lack of visible propulsion, transmedium travel through air and water, and apparent resistance to inertia. To many observers, these movements almost seem as though the objects are not fully interacting with our spacetime in the normal way. And there is more. Numerous experiencers report strange distortions, including time and space. Some describe missing time episodes, where minutes seem to pass subjectively, while hours or even days disappear externally. Others describe interiors of UFO spacecraft appearing vastly larger inside than outside. Whether psychological, neurological, physical, or something else entirely, these reports repeatedly challenge ordinary human perception. If some aspect of the phenomenon operates partially outside our conventional space-time, then concepts such as distance, duration, motion, and physical boundaries may not behave as we expect. Interestingly, some experiencers also report strong chemical odors associated with encounters, particularly sulfur, ammonia, ozone, or metallic smells. If such reports are genuine, they may suggest a biology operating under somewhat different environmental or biochemical conditions than those found on Earth. This would imply that even if the beings appear structurally similar to humans, their internal biology could still be profoundly different. At the same time, the interdimensional hypothesis remains deeply speculative. Modern physics does discuss concepts such as higher dimensions and parallel universes, but none of these theories currently provide evidence for interdimensional beings visiting Earth. And yet, popular culture increasingly explores these ideas. Films, television series, and modern science fiction frequently portray multidimensional realities, parallel timelines, and universes. Perhaps this merely reflects changing cultural imagination, or perhaps humanity is slowly developing conceptual language for possibilities that earlier generations would have interpreted very differently. In previous centuries, unusual encounters may have been interpreted as angels, demons, spirits, or supernatural visions. Today, similar experiences are often interpreted through the framework of extraterrestrial or interdimensional entities. And this creates an interesting philosophical question. Does the phenomenon itself change, or does the human interpretation change? Some political and religious commentators have even suggested that interdimensional entities could correspond to what earlier cultures described as demons or spiritual beings, whether symbolic, psychological, spiritual, or physical. These interpretations reveal how strongly the phenomenon interacts with human belief systems. Of course, the interdimensional hypothesis remains just a speculative thought experiment, but it succeeds in attempts to explain several aspects of the phenomenon simultaneously. The humanoid appearance, the strange physics, the elusive nature of encounters, the distortions of time and perception, and the apparent blending of physical and psychological experience. At present, we still do not know what the grey alien represents, if anything at all. But the persistence and consistency of these reports across decades continue to make the question difficult to ignore.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, consider subscribing to my channel. Have a great day and see you next time.